It's today, February 19th, 2025, and I have an update for you on the major winter storm that is starting to develop right now. Winter storm warnings are in effect from Kansas through Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, into Tennessee, Kentucky, and even extending into the mid-Atlantic, approaching the Outer Banks of North Carolina. These warnings are ahead of our major winter storm, which will bring significant snow to areas that were just flooded. So this will cause additional problems. There are still places with water over the roads or runoff from hills that will freeze, creating further issues. Make sure you're prepared for that. The areas I believe will be most affected today are southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, southwest Missouri, and northern Arkansas. This includes Tulsa, Oklahoma, where we expect major impacts from snow, ice, and sleet today. Joplin and Springfield, you're also in line for significant impacts. Fayetteville, expect major travel delays as well. Pittsburgh in southeast Kansas, all the way over to Paducah, Kentucky, are also in the danger zone. In southern Illinois and extreme southeastern Missouri, expect major travel problems, and we're forecasting moderate issues as far as Bowling Green and Wichita. Today marks our first ever moderate risk of winter storm conditions issued from our winter storm outlook. While this doesn't mean much yet, since we only just started doing this last week, the moderate risk is in areas we've already discussed. The major impacts are forecasted for these areas with the winter storm severity index, and there's an enhanced risk from Kansas to western Kentucky as well. That risk will shift east tomorrow with a slight risk of winter storm conditions from Arkansas through Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, and North Carolina. Let's take a look at the radar as we track this storm. Tonight, around 6 p.m. Eastern, expect heavy snow in Tulsa, light snow in Kansas City, and possibly some snow in St. Louis, although there's some dry air that will need to be overcome before it really starts snowing there. It may take a little longer to get going, but snowflakes will start falling in Paducah around this time. Expect heavy freezing rain around Little Rock and Fayetteville. By midnight, snow and sleet will likely reach Memphis. By 2 a.m. Wednesday, Nashville will see heavy snow, and by 4 a.m., it will also be snowing heavily in Memphis and Nashville. Expect the snow to reach Knoxville around 5 or 6 a.m. By 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., a moderate band of snow will stretch across Kentucky from Lexington to Moorhead and over to Charleston, West Virginia, bringing a decent amount of snow. However, once the storm interacts with the Appalachian Mountains, it will break apart, and only a small zone will remain affected by snow from southern Maryland to southern Delaware, Norfolk, Virginia, and northern North Carolina. It's a very small area where snow is expected. In fact, the storm's track has become more progressive and less likely to impact the Northeast. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston, it now looks less likely that you'll see any snow. Regarding snow totals, we're still expecting significant snow in the Central Plains and southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, southern Missouri, and northern Arkansas. Areas like Springfield and Joplin will likely see more than 10 inches of snow. It seems less likely that St. Louis, Kansas City, and Cincinnati, Ohio will receive more than 2 inches of snow. The heaviest snow will likely fall to your south in Memphis and to the north in Paducah, Kentucky. 3 to 5 inches of snow is possible. The biggest snow totals will be in the Springfield to Tulsa area. As we move east, there's a big change in the storm's second leg, which is why it's so important not to get too attached to long-range model runs. We began talking about the potential impact of this storm on the Northeast and the I-95 corridor between Washington, D.C. and Boston a few days ago, but we've been clear that it was only a 20% probability, and things are now looking different. This is exactly what I mean. Just because a model shows a lot of snow 5 days from now doesn't mean there's any truth to it. That's why here on this channel, it's very important to avoid showing snow totals before the 3-day mark. Even at 3 days, we're always very open about how likely it is that the forecast will change. Now, we're getting to the point where I'm pretty confident in what the models are showing. It looks like we may see no snow in Washington, D.C., or maybe just up to an inch if there's a bit more moisture, which is possible. I don't think we'll see much snow in Philadelphia, New York City, or Boston either. However, there's still a chance for a couple of inches over Cape Cod. If you're in New York, the places that will get the most snow will definitely be off Lake Ontario, where a hefty lake effect snow band will occur from today through the duration of the storm. But the real winner on the East Coast will be Norfolk, Virginia, where we could see 8 inches of snow. There's a small zone there that will see about 8 inches, and even toward Richmond, it's likely to stay below 3 inches, maybe 2 to 5 inches in Richmond. So yeah, this is a very dynamic storm system with 2 different legs. The first leg has been a slam dunk forecast with the same snow amounts predicted for the last 7 days. But after the Appalachian Mountains, things have been a bit more difficult to predict. And I feel for the local meteorologists who've had to work through that. One thing still on the table is the potential for freezing rain, especially in North Carolina, around and south of Greenville. A good chunk of the state could see over a 1/4 inch of ice accumulation, which will cause very slick roads, hazardous travel, and possibly power outages. In eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas, we're becoming more confident that we'll see more icing than originally expected, potentially closer to a 1/10 or even a 1/4 inch of ice around Fort Smith. This will also cause significant travel problems and possible power outages tonight. The roads will be terrible for a while after the storm, and if you lose power, make sure you have propane or another means to heat your home in case of a power outage, because the cold temperatures will stick around for a while. Looking ahead, will be below 0 in much of the central and northern plains through Thursday morning, all the way up into North Dakota, Minnesota, and portions of South Dakota. We're talking about negative 30 degrees. And with the wind chill, it could feel like negative 60. This will be some of the coldest air of the season so far, but the good news is that it won't last long. Temperatures will begin to moderate from west to east into next week as the big trough causing this storm system moves east, allowing for a large persistent ridge to form in the west. This ridge will gradually shift east, bringing warm air advection from the southwest. The 8 to 14 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center shows that by March 3rd, temperatures will return to normal and many of us will experience above average temperatures. I think the first week of March might be a quiet weather week. I know I'm not supposed to say the Q word, but this is the first time I've looked at the medium range forecast and thought, well, I don't see any crazy storms down the pipeline, so hopefully that trend sticks and we all get a break. But if not, of course, I'll be here to keep you updated on any upcoming storms. A major winter storm is approaching the United States, bringing heavy snowfall, dangerous ice accumulation, and the most intense Arctic cold blast of the season. Over the next 48 hours, this system will impact a vast region stretching from the Central Plains to the East Coast, causing widespread disruptions and hazardous travel conditions. Right now, the storm is beginning to take shape. Light to moderate snowfall is already being reported across Kansas, Missouri, northern Arkansas, and Oklahoma. As the day progresses, this snowfall will intensify and expand, fueled by a surge of moisture from the Pacific Ocean and a wave of energy moving over the Rocky Mountains. These factors will contribute to the storm's rapid development, making it an increasingly dangerous system. Meanwhile, conditions along the East Coast remain calm for now. The skies are mostly clear and temperatures are chilly, but this is only temporary. By tomorrow, a powerful storm system will sweep through, bringing widespread showers, thunderstorms, and even periods of heavy snowfall to parts of the East Coast. We've been dealing with several large winter storms recently, and this one will be no exception. This is already the 4th or 5th major storm in just the past 10 days. Winter storm warnings have been issued from Kansas through Kentucky and Tennessee, while winter weather advisories are in effect across Nebraska, northern Texas, and northern Mississippi. Additionally, winter storm watches are in place for Virginia, North Carolina, Maryland, and Delaware, which may soon be upgraded to warnings. These areas could see anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow, along with significant ice accumulation, creating extremely hazardous conditions. As of now, light to moderate snow is falling across Kansas, northern Oklahoma, and southwestern Missouri. However, by midday, this snow will become much heavier, particularly around Joplin, Missouri, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and northern Arkansas, where snowfall rates could reach up to 2 inches per hour. The snow is dry and fluffy, meaning it will accumulate quickly due to the frigid temperatures. In addition to the snow, freezing rain and sleet are spreading across central and eastern Oklahoma, extending into north central Texas, including the Wichita Falls area. This will create dangerous travel conditions as roads and infrastructure become coated in ice, making driving treacherous. This storm will continue to grow and evolve over the next few days, bringing widespread impacts across the country. Stay tuned for further updates and be sure to follow along for the latest developments. As we approach 3 p.m., the heavy snowfall will continue to push eastward, covering much of southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, and northern Oklahoma. Freezing rain will remain a significant concern, particularly in areas around Little Rock, Arkansas, stretching back through Oklahoma City and into parts of North Texas, including areas just north of Dallas-Fort Worth. By sunset, the intense snowfall will shift into western Kentucky and northwestern Tennessee, while freezing rain persists across Arkansas, Oklahoma, and even western Tennessee, creating hazardous travel conditions. As we move into the overnight hours, the snowfall is expected to gradually weaken, indicating that the system will be losing strength as it moves into the Ohio Valley. However, as it approaches the East Coast, it will re-intensify. The system will pick up speed, limiting the duration of snowfall in the region. Most areas in the Ohio Valley are expected to receive around 6 inches of snow at most. By early morning, around sunrise, precipitation will become more scattered, with only light snowfall occurring in eastern Kentucky and eastern Tennessee. Later in the day on Wednesday, the system will undergo redevelopment, intensifying into a major winter storm over North Carolina, Virginia, and Maryland. Significant snowfall is expected across these states, particularly during the evening and into the early overnight hours, leading to potential travel disruptions. In addition to the winter storm, there is also a risk of severe weather along the Gulf Coast, with the possibility of isolated tornadoes and damaging winds. Tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms will develop in parts of Florida, but the severe weather threat for the Central Plains remains minimal to non-existent. As for snowfall accumulations, the forecast remains largely unchanged. A broad area from central Kansas through far western Kentucky is expected to receive 6 to 12 inches of snow. Our next video update will be tomorrow morning, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel. There's also a slight chance that we'll go live tomorrow, so stay tuned.